trying something new. I think I got the Zoom thing together. We're trying something new, people. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna put the link everywhere. So if you wanna call in on the live, you could do that, and we can talk. Okay. It's very interesting what's going on. You know, I'm doing the TikTok thing now, and I'm expanding the horizon in this whole internet game, right? So, I've been noticing a lot of troubles. There's a lot of troubles. Male-female communication is shot. The thing is that we're dealing with Western society. We're dealing with the English language. People don't know what that is. You're using words. You don't really know the true essence of the words that you're using. You don't know the solidarity of the words that you're using, and how to make sure that your words have power and influx. It's sad. It's a big trick, if you ask me. We haven't been educated on what Western society is, how to operate in Western society, what's the significance of culture, of the significance of ceremonies, birthday parties, honeymoon. We don't know what these things are. We don't know how to go about these things. There's been a lot of pointing the finger at the woman. The world doesn't know, well, men, because the world is only composed of men and women, don't know what a woman really is. And women have secrets, and they are attached to another world, and that's all of them, regardless of race. And they get rule and regulation from another world. And this is the true witch's pot of socialism. What is socialism? Socialism is the proper utilization of words and the amalgamation of cultural advancement, if you want to call it cultural advancement. There is also cultural stagnation. So if you want to call change and advancement, I guess that would be based upon the inventions that are introduced, which do change the social mechanism of how we operate with each other. There's a lawnmower. The lawnmower is an invention. We cut the grass. Now we don't have to sit out there with the weed whacker all day or with the push mower, and the attitude is alleviated out of the male, the stress. Inventions alleviate our stress and workload. It has amalgamated our social system over time. Our social system has been influenced and dominated by women since the 1930s, 40s, ever since after World War II. And we put them in the factories, so on and so forth. We gave them maternity leave from jobs. Social Security numbers got implemented. And then we have the Social Security system that got implemented also with other things like your WIC program, which was assimilated, copied from the Black Panthers. And we also have, your EBT and things of this nature. Okay? You have, the women and child benefit group or whatever, the whole Salvation Army type thing going. And this has allowed women to rescind from men, because men incorporate correction. And correction and instruction for a male is his own decision making, which is the true definition of a tyrant. So we have tyrancy, they say. They say the war that is in history is a male thing. They're angry individuals. Testosterone. We don't want it anymore. But this testosterone is the maintenance of all things. And the ladies don't know how to respond to this. In yesteryear, they didn't respond at all because they weren't in a position to respond. They weren't allowed to respond. Listening to women is currently a new human race thing. Let's be clear. Okay? Now, you've had your specks in history. You're always going to have an exception to the rule. Because this is what existence is. Existence is full. So when we look at it on a micro scale, you're going to have an element called an exception to the rule. So you do have great female warriors. You do have great female leaders. You do have these things in history. But are they there by surplus? No. There is no great magnitude of these things. Especially when we get down to discoveries in science, discoveries in mathematics, astrology, things of that nature. Industrial. We don't find them there. When we talk about the inclusion of highways, laying down concrete, blowing up mountains in order to put a highway through the mountain, there's no women involved. You see, in the 1930s and 40s, a lot of women witnessed their fathers come home from heavy workload. And this brought a respect towards the environment and what males have to do as our responsibilities for maintenance while you are at home with the biscuits and the children. So the women of the 50s and the 60s, they didn't grow up with this mentality. These same women stayed with their men for 50, 60 something odd years. Okay? We'll go into the question, and I want questions to pop up. It's good. I need to be involved. I want people to be involved. So you say here, if men don't understand women, do women fully understand men? No. Men don't understand women because they have forgotten the responsibilities of science. Science removes and combats religion. And science can be enforced to serve a means or whatever you want to be enforced. Mind over matter type thing. Science is wishy-washy, basically. You can make things occur if you enforce it too hard. Okay, when it comes to science. All right? And that doesn't matter what it is. We don't understand each other. And there's a lot of reasons why. The number one reason I was leaning on was Western society and how it has built up over time. And Western society conquered everything about what women are before they created this whole credit card escapade in the 1940s that we are dealing with right now. We're in the last stages of a beauty mania, a beauty perfection mania, is where we're at right now. And like I just stated, all civilizations underneath the sun have had information that their society was reliant upon relative to witches and the restraint of women. Everybody, Papua New Guinea, Africa. Would you like to see what Africa is doing right now with the witches? Okay, let's see if I can. No, I'm not. I don't even know if I should go into all this screen flipping stuff. But I mean, it's simple. Go Google African witches and then click on images, and you will see women with their breasts being cut off and all of the types of nonsense that is going on right now. The true thing here that we're looking at is the amygdala gland. And it's clear that women can't compute emotions on the level of which man would like women to compute emotions. And this may also deal with science and anything that is in a longevity spirit. And the reason being is because about the natural status of length for a woman's mind is going to be 9 months, because that's what she is internally feeling during the gestation of a child. Okay? 9 to 10 months. So that is a short time span within 30 years, 40 years. 9 months and 10 months is nothing in the span of 30, 40 years. And that's where their brain is caught. Is because that 9 to 10 months they don't necessarily want. It's a very questionable situation on what could occur after the baby. And to say that they don't want it goes into this whole element of the cat lady. It also goes into what the doctrine states, the good word, the kicked out of heaven, which you need to get. Volume 2 states clearly that the women of the medieval times had a very large infanticide rate. And this infanticide was also connected to cannibalism. This cannibalism aimed at the children, you can see in some of our fairy tales like Hansel and Gretel, of the witch being in the woods and turning the children into bread in the ovens. You see, it was shown to you right there. But we don't know the in-depthness of how European or Western thinking truly operates. And that's why everybody's having these troubles right now. There is, you see, first of all, we got to understand that they burn their witches for 400, 500 years. And after that, they went on to the planet and infected the planet, took over everything, right? And during that time, you have great ravaging that occurred on the planet, okay, with all races. A lot of sexual ravaging, a lot of violent, a lot of beheading, a lot of blood programming, ravaging was going on at that time. Then, right after that, we have 200-300 years solid of etiquette classes. So, they have perfected an etiquette style of walking with a smile and having a 500-page book on your head with having a glass on top of the book so you can walk correctly and have the spine erect, which edifies intelligence. Okay, this is also why suits gain the respect that they do, because in proper wearing of them, your spine just automatically just lines up. You see, so a lot of these things are bred on the unconscious level of the human reception. You see, so the woman has, the Caucasian woman went through the etiquette classes. She went through the witch burnings. The native women did not. The native women went through maybe 100, 200 years of some shit. The Spanish women went through a lot of prostitution. Black women went through a lot of rape ravaging. It wasn't necessarily prostitution. It was, as you can see in the state laws of many states here in America, that it was legal for a white man to rape a black woman, even if he was married to a white woman. It was legal, I think, in Kansas and a couple other places. It was on the books. Okay, so the loss of ownership between the black male and the black female is definitely there. We can see this through the indirect communication of ownership at the strip club, the indirect defiance with the tattoos, also the indirect confirmation of separation, which would be done in degrees and financial lines to divide. Okay? So, within these areas of social systems and financial systems, there's a lot of tricks and trades going on that black people don't know anything about. And some sororities and fraternities get it, but there's a lot of secrets on how, European relationships used to operate. I don't know what they're doing now, that founded and grounded all of the corporations that we're dealing with today. There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of invisible social rules, and that's what the brother Kevin Samuels is over here trying to let people know. Immediately, he tells people, height, weight. What's your height? What's your weight? And usually that does fit in the line. Overweight women in Western society is a sign of sloppiness, obesity, lack of self-control. It is also a sign of infatuation. It's a sign of what's the word I'm looking for? Insatiableness is the word I'm looking for. Ravaging continuously, non-stop. The Miss Piggy, and that's what you were shown in Sesame Street was Miss Piggy, only one female amongst many men. And that's the situation we have now, one female with 3-4 baby daddies, that's amongst many men. And swinging the purse at Kermit, this was the thing. So, let me see here. My volume's low. Okay, thank you for letting me know that. Okay, is the volume up now? Okay, let me see here. Okay, we should be good. But yeah. So, as I was stating, okay, you have the Miss Piggy, you have the ravaging. That's what a big woman is symbolized in Western culture. A fat woman is considered to be unhealthy, even though they show you the buxom ladies of the Southwest and the buxom ladies of the South. And big breasts, which is also favored in Western culture, is a sign of birthing capability and a sign of feeding and a sign of fullness. It's a sign of heftiness, And in Nigeria, certain African tribes, they look at obesity as a sign of abundance, as prosperity. And we can see some of that activity inside of the black male's mind to this day. That we are attracted to big women. Me, I'm attracted to all women. Okay? Well, I can't say that because shit has then got crazy. But, petite women, I love petite women. I love mid-shaped women. I love thick women. It does not matter. A woman is a woman. The essence of a woman is not found in body shape. But body shape has to be there. Don't think that at any time that you can be of any body shape and of any scent and just automatically be chosen by the millionaire in the room. A lot of women have, and I believe this bounces back to the whole uterus is alien thing. They feel as if they automatically have a right to do whatever they want and to walk in any scene. And if a woman wants a man, then that man needs to automatically want her because she's a woman and she has coochie, and the coochie is the most beautiful thing in the planet. And you need coochie. You want coochie. So because you want coochie, you have to deal with whatever bullshit I give you. And that's the root mentality of a lot of women. Me, I got high standards. There's been a lot of girls throwing the coonie at me, and I'm like, nah, we're not going to do that. I'm not. See, they got bad liquor habits out here. So, I'm not doing the Four Loko. We're not going to do the cheap liquor and the stench. And the weave and the 3, 4, 5 kids. All of that is stench. The cat, the dog is stench. And we're going to talk about the cat. the cat lady. I wanted to lean in on that. I wanted to go through a lot of this other stuff because there's a lot of confusion going on online, and people are mad at the ladies. Men are mad, and they're mad because they're raised by single mothers who didn't teach them anything about courting a woman. They don't know how to get at a woman. Culturally, they have been taught Too Short, UGK. They have been taught the local rappers and, fuck that bitch, make her suck my dick, blah, 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 blah. That's all that's going on. There is no essence. There is no woo-woo-woo. There is no courting. There is no, even me, I'm not even going to lie about it. If you don't come around me with no value, I'm not excited. We're not doing it. Okay? I have value. High value man. I have created myself to be that way. Some of you have watched it over the years. Okay? When I turned on this video 8 years ago, I wasn't talking like this. I'm talking like this now because I'm self-trained to be in the industry that I'm in. You see? And you have to hold yourself with a high level of conduct with being an author. And that's just the bottom line to it, There's a lack of intellect that's going on. The bottom line level is all about your position in life. And that's another thing the brother is trying to explain to people that they don't get. It's called social mathematics. If you don't have a degree, you stick with a motherfucker that doesn't have a degree. If you're 150,000 in as a female and you're not married, whoop, because the men that's up there at that layer, they can demand women of a lower age and less experienced and with no children. Because, see, the conflict comes with industry. There's a lot of conflict with industry. The female goes to her industry. The male goes to her. We both make six figures. 9 times out of 10, males who are making, 6 figures and up, they're stressing, they're moving, they're gone. They may have to be gone for 3 months to 6 months at a time. And this is also the same with the woman when you're dealing with this. Now, she may be, local, may not have to do a lot of traveling, things of that nature. And she will barely be able to hold down the household because of the responsibilities that's on the internal. As the male, he has a lot of responsibilities to handle as well. But because the finances are greater, a lot of those finances, are not hands-on. So changing of the gas of the car, keeping the yard up and, keeping the gutters clean, all this thing. I could keep somebody on budget for that. We're moving, But even when it comes to a maid, the female is going to have to stand over the maid's shoulder, and because women automatically know that uterus is tricky. So she knows she got to watch this maid because this maid might be trying some funny shit. She can't leave the maid up in the house with the husband because the husband might do some funny shit. So it's a run-around circle type thing, The best thing, the easiest point in all of this is what I said earlier. Etiquette. There is no need to compete with males. Design males that are going to keep your environment sufficient. And you're not doing that. The women are more worried about males, sniffing up their ass instead of maintaining or shall I say what's the word we're looking for here? Farming. Yeah, you're farming men. That's what it is. You need to be, growing, birthing men that are going to be out here and be industrial and inventive in society. And you're not focused on your pregnancy. You're getting pregnant and eating Burger King the entire time. You can definitely tell by the type of children that are running around. They're malnourished on the embryo level, and whose fault is that? Can we blame the male? The males don't know what to do. They've been raised by single mothers, and there's no courting systems that's teaching them anything on television. Okay? We at least had some Pepe Le Pew. We had some Gone with the Wind. We saw a man and woman. with the Home Improvement, with the Family Matters. Those were the TV shows we came up with. Nowadays, you're not being taught any of that courting or nuclear family unison type of thing on television. But once you don't have family, you don't have home. And when you don't have home, you don't have society. Society is a bunch of homes. Okay? That's all there is to it. Society is a bunch of homes. And families maintain the home. If there is no family, then slowly society crumbles. It's really that simple. We're looking at way larger issues here than a ring on somebody's finger. You know? And the majority of females aren't going to do that because they have been trained and taught to be combative towards a male. And in reality, you'll never be able to win against men. And there's a multitude of reasons why. We built the world you're in. We build weapons. We design law. You do not do these things, you know, and you've had eons and thousands of years of time to prove yourself in these areas, and you have not. And that's the bottom line to it. So when it comes to the social mathematics, we're not going to confuse things, because that's exactly what has happened in America. Royal lines and royal bloods have been lost over time. So there's a lot of individuals who have royal thinking that's embedded in their blood structure that they will not be able to lay down or match with the bum who has bum genetics. Okay? Because a lot of people out here have retard genetics. A lot of people don't even see what's going on with that whole thing. The ladies calling in on the Kevin Samuels. They're just calling in to call in. They're clowning. The women know that, yeah, whatever you're saying, nigga. I'm just up here to be cute and to be on TV, to be on the internet where there's a lot of numbers going. That's all the women are. That's their only intention. They don't care about getting slandered and getting what you saying is going in one ear and out the other. Women may potentially know what their power is when it comes to sexuality, but they're not experienced in it, nor are they being taught the ins and outs of a male's mind, nor do none of them study psychology on a interest, on a personal interest. Yeah, they're all psychologists because they went to some man's college somewhere. Remember that. You went to a man's university and read a man's books in the university. And you drove a man's car to get there. And you flew on a man's plane to get there. You understand? So the anger notions are ridiculous, you see? Now, what are we talking about? Western culture. You don't know Western culture. The Mexican doesn't know Western culture. The black doesn't know Western culture. The Mexican is closer to Western culture than what the Negro is, for sure. They at least have the sympathetic nature. They have the Catholicism has been laid on them for eons. They understand the Mary and they understand the Rose. You see, black males don't necessarily have an in-depth fall over love for their women as males of other races do for their women. There may be a lot of reasons why for that, but we're not going to talk about that. What we're going to talk about is the enforcement women must encode inside their own systems in order for that to occur. Right now, your best position is going to be submission. You cannot show me one area where submission does not get favored. Okay? For instance, you're looking for a job. You go to the job, you submit to the application. Then you check all the boxes off on the application. You turn it in, they say, hey, we like you. We want you to work. You come in, you submit to the training. And then you get what? A check. Then after the training, you submit to the system of operation inside the business. And you get what? A check. You see how that works? It's submission. Usually, in the medieval, you see the knight, he bows the bended knee. And what does he get? What does he get? He gets the knighting. Okay? He gets moved up a rank. You must submit to understand and learn. I submitted the books Therefore, I can write a book. Women have a problem with submission because their brain doesn't compute the Z position of what's going to be gained. They don't compute the gaining aspect of things, you know. And it takes a lot of reading, which what you see white ladies do, and when they get the ages of the 50 and the 60, what do? You see them reading. And they read to keep the mind busy so it is not falling into the areas of gossip and nonsense and creating great spider web on the family members. You have to have something to think about so your brain doesn't create a bunch of skepticism bullshit. Now, this spider web that a lot of women create is what they think is going to be the net that keeps the man, which in actuality it might be, but it's also very repulsive, and many men will feel the biological changes because they will get physically sick from being underneath a woman's spider web, which comes from the genetic transformation during the course of sex, okay, with all her juices getting inside of you, okay. That is a part of her saying, honey, and you jumping up like, oh my God, what's going on? And she running to you, you know, and you running to her and all of that. That's what her sexual secretions do. So that's why, you know, in the elder couple or the elder white couple, they keep the lines on the sex. They say, hey, I'm going to treat you like a human. You're my best friend. You know, we'll go to the nude beach, do what you want. I'm going to do what I want because we're friends. I've seen your booty a million times. I don't own your raggedy private parts anymore. And you don't own my raggedy private parts anymore. So let's go let somebody else play with them. And that's how you do it. But see, there's a lot of problem here with the human ownership clauses that the Negro likes to put on a micro scale. You see, when you're owning one individual, that doesn't mean shit. These individuals that I'm talking about, they own corporations. They have businesses. So they write many checks for many people. They already have their own plantation. They have conquered human. Okay? Therefore, they're in goddess status. And that means that their understanding of sex is a little bit different, which allows their relationship to last a little bit longer because they're more in a best friend space. More so than a I own you and you can't do this in a restraint space. You see. The white male has conquered the element of keeping the wife as a best friend, more so than a sexual object. As a lot of black males, they go into unions with the mind frame of, oh, I'm going to lock her down forever, automatically putting her in the space of sexual object. Women will, in essence, sense that over time, and they will go. And then there's also a lot of other things that change. A lot of women don't fully comprehend growth when it comes to business, because business is not a thing that is inside their gender makeup or gender history. It isn't there. It wasn't there 100 years ago. It wasn't there 1,000 years ago. They were the products of business, meaning they would assist within advertising and marketing, which we can see all the way back down to the ships of the Phoenicians. Okay, they had females that would be next to the advertisements. The oldest advertisements on Earth come from 3000 BCE. And that was found in Nubia. Okay, so marketing, advertising is what the ladies were used for, and they were also what we want to call concubines. Okay, and they were traded for cows and things of this nature. Okay, and that goes to say that in the modern times, we need not be classifying all women as wives and mothers, because all of them aren't. Because they have the capability of delivering a child does not mean they have the capability and understanding of raising one. And that is usually based upon their personal history and what has happened with their mother, grandmother, and so on and forth, their abuse that they received during childhood. It is wise for you to suspect that every female has been abused to a certain percentage rate before she even reached her teenage years. And a lot of that abuse will end up on your plate later in the relationship. So it is best to make those skeletons in the closet dance when you meet a woman. Okay, let's be clear on that. So, let's go into this cat lady thing, because this is very unique what we have to talk about here. Okay. Let me see here. What are we doing? It is called toxoplasmosis. It is a parasitic disease caused by Toxoplasma gondii. Okay? Those with a weak immune system and severe symptoms such as seizures and poor condition may occur. If a woman becomes infected during pregnancy, a condition known as congenital toxoplasmosis may affect the child. This may be this new talk of the baby witch. Toxoplasmosis is a parasite that only mates and can only reproduce inside of cats. In the United States, approximately 11% of people are affected, while in some areas of the world, this is more than 60%. Okay? Approximately 200,000 cases of congenital toxoplasmosis occur a year. Okay? In 1941, transmission during pregnancy from a mother to a baby was confirmed. Okay, now this is what we're talking about here now. People with weakened immune systems are likely to experience headache, confusion, poor coordination, seizures, lung problems that may resemble tuberculosis or pneumocystis, Jirovecii, pneumonia, a common opportunistic infection that occurs in people with AIDS, or blurred vision caused by severe inflammation of the retina, that's in the eye. Young children and immunocompromised people, such as those with AIDS and taking certain types of chemotherapy, or those who have recently received an organ transplant, may develop severe toxoplasmosis. This can cause damage to the brain or the eyes. Infants infected via placental transmission may be born with either of these problems or with nasal malformations, although these complications are rare in newborns. Now, nasal malformations, I want to talk about that for a little. People with cleft lip comes from the mother smoking cigarettes while she's pregnant with the child, okay? And that's where that comes from. Okay, yeah, I had to make sure I'm on the screen. Okay, now. Okay, now this, okay. In most immunocompetent people, the infection enters a latent phase, during which tissue cysts are present. These tissue cysts or even lesions can occur in the retinas, alveolar lining of the lungs, the heart, skeletal muscle, and the central nervous system, including the brain. Okay? Now, let me show you something here. This is a parasite that is inside cats. Okay? It can only reproduce inside cats. Alright? Here it is right here. Toxoplasmosis is generally transmitted through the mouth. Okay? Or tissue cysts are accidentally eaten. Congenital transmittance from mother to fetus can also occur. Transmission may also occur during the solid organ transplant process, like I said earlier. Oral transmission may occur ingestion by raw or partly cooked meat, especially pork, lamb, or venison containing toxoplasma cysts. Infection prevalence in countries where undercooked meat is traditionally eaten has been related to this transmission method. Okay? Tissue cysts may also be ingested during hand-to-mouth contact after handling undercooked meat or from using knives, utensils, or cutting boards contaminated by raw meat. Ingestion of unwashed fruit or vegetables. Ingestion of cat feces containing oocysts. This can occur through hand-to-mouth contact following gardening, cleaning a cat's litter box, contact with children's sand pits. The parasite can survive in these environments for months. Ingestion of untreated, unfiltered water through direct consumption of utilization of water for food preparation. Ingestion of unpasteurized milk and milk products, particularly goat's milk. And ingestion of raw seafood. You can get this parasite called the toxoplasmosis. Now, cats excrete the pathogen in their feces for a number of weeks after containing the disease, generally by eating an infected intermediate host that could include mammals like rodents or birds. Oocyst shedding usually starts from the third day after ingestion of infected and intermediate hosts and may continue for weeks, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Let me see here. But yeah, this also travels into the woman. I mean, okay, here it is right here. Congenital toxoplasmosis is associated with fetal death and miscarriage. And in infants, it is associated with neurological deficits, neurocognitive deficits, and choriotinnitus. A positive antibody titer indicates previous exposure and immunity and largely ensures the unborn fetus's safety. Okay? So it is clearly saying, for pregnant women with negative antibody titers, indicating no previous exposure to T. gondii, is frequent. Okay, Okay. Yes. Pregnant women should avoid handling raw meat and drinking raw milk, and be advised to not eat raw or undercooked meat, regardless of the type. Okay? Because it travels through that, but the fact is that this stuff mates. This parasite can only mate inside of cats. And when it mates inside of cats, like we've seen in many of the hoarder TV shows, the cats got feces laying everywhere. So with the cats having feces laying everywhere, it's all in the air. It's all in your food. It's getting in your shoes, getting in your socks. And this develops the schizophrenia. Okay? That happens to a woman once they're being neglected by society as well. Okay. The crazy cat lady syndrome is a term coined by news organizations to describe scientific findings that link the parasite Toxoplasma gondii to several mental disorders and behavioral problems. The suspected correlation between cat ownership in childhood and later development of schizophrenia suggested that further studies were needed to determine a risk factor for children. However, later studies showed that T. gondii was a causative factor in later psychosis. Okay? The term crazy cat lady syndrome draws on both the stereotype and popular cultural reference. It was originated as instances of the aforementioned afflictions were noted amongst the populace. A cat lady is a cultural stereotype of a woman, often a spinster, who compulsively hoards and dotes upon cats. Now, when they say spinster, which is definitely a definition, and there will be a full detailed research on this parasite and the cat lady archetype inside the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Woman that I'm composing right now. But when we talk about a spinster, that's what's the majority of women were classified not only in Western society, medieval times, all the way going back down to Greece, but also in ancient China. Women were considered to be threaders, in the spinster wheel. And also their gossiping and their operation and moving, specifically their dancing, is all turning around in a circle in the spinning format. Where this comes from or what is really going on, we don't thoroughly know. But it is definitely stating that the spinning that is a part of the insanity, as we see with Tornado. And that is also a tempestary witch. A tempestary witch is a witch that creates great tempest, and she creates the thunderstorms and the hail. Okay? So, one study that was being done on this this parasite was that it was being done on rats. It was showing that some evidence suggests this loss of aversion may be specific to feline odors. When given a choice between two predator odors, cat or mink, infected rodents with the parasite show a significantly stronger preference to cat odors than do uninfected controls. Okay? What it's really stating here is that the rats weren't holding up a defense mechanism against the cats by having this parasite in them. It was breaking down their senses of protection against the predator. And this is also, we can conclude that for what we see with women today, with them not having good genetic selection skills and choosing on men that end up killing them. You obviously don't have a good skill in identifying what is safe for you and what is good for mating purposes if you're getting with a male that is killing you, you see. A lot of these things are age-old situations that have already been conquered. And the whole thing about it is that America has a social system that doesn't have any of this information embedded inside of it. And that is a problem. A lot of this information was hidden underneath the cloaks of religion that weren't brought to America or introduced to the natives. Sort of like Catholicism, the in-depth laws of Christianity, the in-depth laws of Islam are not here. We have allowed this freedom of women to run around running their mouth, and it's confused men, and they become spinsters, and they're raising a whole army of beta males that are extremely confused, and they're 4 or 5 generation in beta males. They're going to agree with anything that mama says, because in essence, they're trying to do anything to get some pussy because their dick can't get hard. You know? If you can't get up, you can't fuck no pussy, then you ain't got no power. And the woman does not agree within submitting to you because you have shown her no prowess that you can protect her. You can only protect her by throwing her all around the room while you fucking her. You know? That way you ain't got to lay no hand because she knows what you can do during the course of sex. If she's seen all that fucking testosterone, all that shit, then she knows you can knock a motherfucker out. You know? And then if you consistently beat the coochie up, she gonna want to test you on the outside because she done got normalized to it. The whole level of monotony in a woman's mind occurs quicker than it does in a male's mind because a male has a more advanced understanding of the emotionalism of his environment so he can accept reality. The smaller amygdala gland may enforce high levels of illusion in which that also goes into their reward system when it comes to their desires in the sexual realm. They paint the Fabio in their head that's not going to be there, you know, and that's the truth. So let's go in. We got a mental health section to be talking about with some of this parasite. So that's found in cats only. So a woman who owns a cat, you just might as well go ahead and suspect that she has the schizophrenia and she has the parasite in her because it's all great dumbass. And that's why Western society is keep on promoting all these cats. And, you know, because they know where you're going to be. They know that through the defiance males and females have from the millennial generation and the Generation X, they're going to be single and ended up in the nursing homes. So if you want to get some money ahead, you go ahead and buy you a plot of land and get a nursing home built on it. Because the disagreeableness and the foul mouths and the lack of the comprehension of who is who and what is what in society when it comes to the females has put us all at separation. And it's not to blame the females, but males have been taught in the society to bring the roses, to sing the song, to do all of this, blah, 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 blah. And women have been trained by television, Walt Disney, so on and so forth, to be assholes. And the assholeness has wore the fuck off. And guess why? Because there's rules and regulations when it comes to success in business. And now every individual in America, if you're intelligent, is being forced down the entrepreneur lane inside the internet. And guess what? You have to have a sound brain. You have to have a clear mentality. That means we cannot be hearing no shit talking. Okay? So you want to come over here because I'm going to tell you right now. I drag the soul to hell. You come over here talking the shit. I don't give a fuck. You know, if you feel like you get high, you get a little little endorphin boost. You get high. You get the euphoria from talking shit to your mate. then you're a dumbass. And if you think, the mothers of the Jeff Bezos and the mothers of the Bill Gates came home talking shit to their husbands, you've lost your fucking mind. If you think the wife, Melania, came home talking shit to Trump, you've lost your fucking mind. If you think Biden's wife is coming home, no, it's not happening. And look at what they produce. They produce mayors, they produce lawyers, they produce productive individuals that maintain the highest levels of society. You produce gold-mouthed fuck-offs by majority rule. We're not saying that's the entire GOAT because I'm not in that boat. You understand? So Kevin Samuels is not in that boat. There's a lot of black men out here that's not in that boat by majority rule. And what you are calling individuals on the internet for, you're complaining about the gold mouth. Okay? You're complaining about the bomb. So let's go in on this real quick. 2012 meta-analysis found that the rates of antibodies to T. Gandhi in people with schizophrenia were 2.7 times higher than in controls. Okay? Cautions noted include that the antibody tests do not detect toxoplasmosis directly. Most people with schizophrenia do not have the antibodies for toxoplasmosis to fight against it, is what it's saying. Sex differences in schizophrenia onset may be explained by a second peak of this T. Gandhi parasite infection incidence during ages 25 to 30 in females only. Okay. So it's clear here. It's clear here that neurological disorders like Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's disease are connected to toxoplasmosis. Okay? So that's what we got going on. The crazy cat lady. You got a parasite in you. Any woman that has the animals all up in her house, you might as well go ahead and throw it out. That they have the parasite in them. They're lonely and they will be defiant. And not only that, the smells that come from the animals stop your desire from being attracted to the female. If she gets out the shower, you want to smell her coochie and the fucking steam all through the house. You don't want to smell no fucking dog in his fucking hair or no cat in the hair blocking that shit. You understand? So that's another reason why they do a lot of that animal shit, is to break down the man's attraction towards her. And the reason being is because that leaves her in a position of being able to run her mouth more. Because what happens is when you got the proper type of phallus, she's going to be squirting everywhere. The oxytocin comes out, which automatically puts her into submission. That is the liquid button that puts her into submission by her voluntary self, okay? And this is the thing, this is the area that designs a lot of serial killers, is because they don't have voluntary submission from a female that is genuine. Voluntary submission, genuine voluntary submission from a woman with her own personal desire, especially when you equate her beauty level that's with it, is the highest level of power that a man can attain to his aura, that a man can attain to his everyday, his everyday appearance when he's out in the world, okay? And that is the bottom line to it. So voluntary submission from a woman comes with sexual pleasure, and that's found deep in the realms of the uterus, and that's called the chemical oxytocin, okay? So if you can't get the oxytocin out of her, then she's going to be an asshole to you sooner or later, And oxytocin can also be a thing that is controlled by her psychologically if she is untainted, and then she naturally falls in love with you. Because we are dealing with Western society. Here is the law. The law of a whore in Western society is if you are not married as a virgin, you fall into the capacity of whore or concubine. These are the rules of the Western world. And this is the language that we speak, English. We're in America, okay? You live underneath their culture lines. You want to debate it, you want to fight it, you don't like the way that sounds, blah, 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 so on and so forth. That's the way it is. Okay? You want to be prestigious, you got to go to a prestigious school. That's how it works. Okay? You want to be a prestige, you got to be a conqueror. Okay? You have to have the aura. You have to have the aura. You have to have it added to your system of being. You know, that's due diligence, that's respect, that's common courtesy. There's a lot of those type of things, you know, that fall into the mix. You see? So, it's very real, you know. Let me see if we got some questions here. Okay, so yeah, you can shoot some questions. But yeah, so if you want to come in, you want to call in, I got the thing here. Let me put the thing right here. Is that it? Yeah, you can hit the link for the Zoom, and I can bring you in. Let me put the Zoom on my other things here. So yeah, that is the reality to the situation. A lot of people don't like that reality because they weren't educated about that reality, and they want to fight it. But if you have 2-3 babies, nobody really wants that. It's a lot of workload. As a matter of fact, it's very disrespectful for you to go into another man's world and expect him to pick up somebody else's incubated seed. And then not only that, you weren't intelligent enough to guarantee that the man that you were dealing with was of quality to take care of a child. You know, my baby moms did. That's why I got my children now. You know, as they right here, right now with me. You understand? Because I have that quality of giving a fuck. You know, a lot of people don't give a fuck. So, you come up with shit stain. And then everybody ends up angry and serial killer. You know? And that's what's going on right now. There's a lot of men mad. There's a lot of women mad. Everybody wants something their way. You're not going to get it your way because it wasn't designed to be your way. You know, it wasn't designed to be my way. There's a lot of things that I would like the world to be doing or how they would be acting and communicating with each other, but it's not going to happen like that, you know. Because I'm only one person. You're only one person. You're not going to be able to change the world, you know. There's a lot of rules and regulations out here. We're stuck inside Western society. A lot of people are scared because they don't know what Western society is and they don't know what's coming around the corner. So a lot of people are trying the polygamy. A lot of people are trying to rush in. They're trying to go back in time and fix relationships and things of that nature. Because you can smell the bullshit coming. You don't know what that bullshit is. You don't even know who your fucking president is right now. You see? That's the whole thing. Things are very tricky. So, you know, security is sought. Security is not a thing that can be compiled on by many individuals because they could all be fucking stupid. And then what do you got? You know? So here, the money religion camp, everything is secure, sufficient. I know it's happening for the next 10, 20 years, you know. And women ain't worried about 10, 20 years. Their brain is built on fickleness. Their brain is built on momentary thinking. And this isn't a bad thing. Please don't take these things, ladies, as if I'm badgering you. These are facts. You understand? And that's another thing about the native mind and facts. I tell you, damn nigga, your toe sticking out your fucking shoe. What's going on? They said, damn nigga, why you gotta talk shit? I'm not talking shit. The toe is sticking out the shoe, brother. There's no shit talking here. You know? I said, man, do you know where you at, man? Take off that fucking do-rag. He said, man, why you gotta be talking shit all the time, dog? Talking shit? I'm telling you, take off the do-rag. Everybody in the room has on bow ties and fucking ties, you fucking hump. And fucking hard bottoms. And you walking here with Jordans. What are you talking about? You see? The native mind is not built for clarity and getting to reality. There's a lot of emotional dumbass in the way. And the brother Kevin Samuels, that's what he's talking about. And that's why a lot of people can't get through it. Because the native has a lot of fat on the brain that they just can't pierce through to fucking reality and accept reality for what it is. You know, I have no problem with reality. I have no problem with advising a plan, saying what I'm going to do, and making and getting my results. As you've seen me move state to state, you've seen me do this multitude times over, and I'm still walking up the stairs. I got a whole new plateau to take over now. You see what I'm saying? So it's going to be a wild ride. But I definitely wanted to put this out. Don't be the cat lady. Don't hoard in your home. The cat carries a parasite that will definitely incorporate schizophrenia and all other forms of insanity inside your mind. You cannot replace love with an animal. A lot of people have a lot of psychological issues when they have animals. They want to be a ruler and they want to be dominant and they want to hit somebody, but they don't want them to hit them back. So the dog takes all of these licks and demands and all this other stuff. At the same time, they piss his shit all over your shit. And you like the scent. You dwell and you lay in the scent. And that's what's going on. You know, it's terrible. A lot of women nowadays, especially black women, they've thrown themselves completely away. They don't have any mirror image inside society that tells them that they're beautiful. Megan Thee Stallion doesn't have a true sex appeal. It's remarkable, you know. So they're collapsing slowly with the bonnet and the pajama pants, and they're not happy. And you know, revolutionary women, they're not happy neither. You know, degree holding women have been masculinized. They can't. Their whole sex dynamic has been altered. When a woman is educated, usually they can't have children. That's what it says in ancient Egypt. Okay. So you got a lot of different positions. Supposedly polygamy is on the rise. A lot of people, there's no stability in the brain for a lot of people. That's one reason why I don't really want to mess around with this whole stupid ass shit. Because I have a very stable brain. I just got out of a 10-year relationship, just got out of a 7-year relationship. I know how to ride for the long haul. Stability is a thing that's not really in the woman's mind. She's very momentary with the thinking. It's sort of like goldfish thinking. You know why a goldfish can stay in a small bowl? It's because the goldfish looks out one side and says, oh, look at all of this over here. It's beautiful. And then they turn around and they say, oh, but what's that over there? And then they go over there to the other side of the bowl and they're looking out and they say, oh, this is beautiful. And then they turn around and say, what's that over there? And they just came from that location. But their memory is so glitched that they don't even remember. You see? A tactic a lot of women are using, because you are battling witchcraft right now, because women are in the point of trying to take over the globe. So I will explain one of the tactics that they're using right now. Hopefully you men don't get caught up in it. But this whole thing of just looking at you and twisting the head in the camera and blinking the eyes, that is what an infant sees in the baby carriage. So she's trying to force your thinking into an infant status, which makes her feel safe for the element of rulership, even though she doesn't comprehend being 60 or being 70 years old and all the retards that she made retards on purpose that were born very healthy children, but she fed them Drano so she could get worshipped by the neighborhood, you know, and keep the child sick. When you're 70 years old, there's nobody to wash your ass because you loved on the retard. And then you voted the Down syndrome in on president because it was cute. He could walk up the stairs. It was cute. You see? Men take malfunction behind the barn and shoot it. That's what we do. And you say, oh, my baby, oh, you're a dumbass. You're not concluding. You see? I've said this story many a times, and I'll say it again. I was at a grocery store, and it was a little Down syndrome boy bagging my groceries. And there was a couple lanes down, and they hugged each other and kissed, and the aura was loud, and the scene blew up, and the little Down syndrome boy turned around and looked at the couple kissing, and he just buckled. His whole shit, his whole stature just crippled a little bit, because he knew he'll never be able to experience love on that capacity. And women don't give a fuck about no man experiencing no love, because love states that she has to be submissive. When in actuality, females in this entire kingdom on this planet Earth has to be submissive. But it is only the retarded human species that follows, that chooses retards to lead, that celebrates their weakness, and will also downgrade in their mating selection. So, I guess that's what choice gives us, is to choose bullshit. And that's exactly what the majority of humans choose, especially all the single mothers that are out here complaining. One thing about motherhood is that when a woman gives birth, she's experienced one of the biggest orgasms ever with the baby coming out of her vagina. And there is a area of the brain that is struck where it makes her a little bit more insatiable during the course of being a mother to have sex. Not only that, but the reminder of keeping a protector, and also for the alleviation of her workload and stress. So the backed up sexual secretions inside of her body, because she has more of an inclination of trying to attempt slavery on the male, except instead of being in love or even having a good time in a liaison for a while. She's more worried about, can her pussy create a slave? Can her pussy create an old bum ass nigga that's gonna be running after your shit? Because any nigga that's running after your shit is a bum, because he's not running after the money. You see, if he's running after the money, then he ain't got time to put his nose up your ass. You see, that's how it works. So I mean, that is the planet we live on. We live on a topsy-turvy, upside down, inside out, backwardness dimension. Let me see if we got any questions here before I get up out of here. So yeah, this is what's going on. This is what's going on with our world today, and it's sad. It's very sad, I believe. But you've listened to your women, and this is where they have brought you, and that's all you can really say about that. You have listened to your women, America. Look at the Chinese army commercial. Look at the Russian army commercial, and then look at the American army commercial. It's sad. It's sad. You have listened to your women, and your women have downgraded you. And women have naturally done this for eons. In all civilizations, it's recorded. And this is why kings of the medieval times always had prostitutes, and always had, other women that they were fucking on besides the queen. Is because, too much fucking on one woman, she's going to be able to have too much influence on everything that you do and operate. Okay? But one thing about the native woman you don't have to worry about is that they're scared as hell of that paper contract. So when it comes down to businesses and all of that other shit, you ain't got to worry about the native woman. She going to run to the fucking hill, because she don't know nothing about that shit. Now you go get you a Jewish woman, go get you an Irish woman, they're gonna refile and file and file and make sure the shit is notarized, because we are in this relationship called a marriage to ball, to give birth and to give back to mankind, ball and have fun. All this other shit about who owns whose stinkiest parts of the body, your private parts are your stinkiest parts, and that's all you fucking worried about, is owning another motherfucker's private parts. So you're worried about owning the stink of a human. Right or wrong? You see? It's simple. Medieval has the math. Be a rake in the game. Be a conqueror. If you didn't conquer in the 14, 15 years old, at least by the 2025, forget about it. Get you a doll, I guess, or whatever. Stay the fuck away. But that's the world today. I wanted to give out my point. I definitely wanted to teach you about the cat lady, and hopefully the ladies don't become cat ladies. The facts that I relinquish are for the assistance in women, not for the badgering. I don't believe in slander and defamation. Okay? So, I haven't done that in none of my books neither. And I have walked the line where people may have felt that way because you think in an emotional space. But no, one thing about me is that I call a frog and a duck. Okay? And that's just where that line is going to lay at. So, I wanted to bring that information today. I don't want any cat ladies out here. I don't want any women being left neglected. You know, how do old white women avoid neglect? By mass amounts of attention and love during the childhood, and enforcement, and involvement, and interest, you know, and these keys, the majority of Native women don't have. But we're not going to get to the reality of this situation until we accept our position. I'm not doing a comparison and contrast on the basis of who is greater than who. You have to understand that I have clearly proven that they have been trained to think the way they think for the basis of survival, which came from extreme circumstances pertaining to every single facet of life. It was a trained scenario. It was an ant farm scenario that Europeans went through in order to design the form of thinking that they operate by. So don't think that this is some comparison, and don't think that this is some gratification of white folk or no shit like that. You live in Western society, and they're not going to teach you the litigation, the rules and regulations, and neither is your punk ass university, nor is your mama and your daddy going to teach you a goddamn thing, okay, pertaining to this, you see? So I definitely wanted that out. I wanted the ladies to stay healthy, keep the animals away. You still have more generations coming through your loins, you know. And we want them to be healthy. And as is stated, the parasite can transfer from the mother to the uterus. So, I mean, to the fetus. So, let me see what we got here. Let me see here. Yeah, I know, and let's talk about that, because I know women want to rely on feelings, but business doesn't allow feelings. And feelings can't be confirmed. Feelings and emotions is a very big fat space of a bunch of nothingness. And that's why it's best for women to keep that amongst themselves in the kitchen, because it doesn't produce anything. Because guess what? I didn't feel like working today. I didn't feel like putting on this suit and getting on this video right now. I didn't feel like delivering my son. I didn't feel like driving to the hospital when the baby mom was in labor. I didn't feel like doing the music video. I didn't feel like buying no guns. I didn't feel like doing a goddamn thing. Your emotions are good for nothing. So since you feel that over there. Because real men operate off of what they feel. You get high, you smoke some weed, you feel that. You get drunk, liquor, you catch a buzz, you feel that. Okay, you can physically feel it, pussy. You can feel it, smack the ass. You can feel, you understand? On the external side, we feel the car. You understand? We feel the engine. We know how much the gasoline tank has to be filled. You understand? So your feelings running around up in here do what? For who? What does it do? It's running around in here for you. It's inconsiderate. It's self-centered. Your emotions and how you feel. Are you feeling for others? So if you're feeling for others, how do you feel for somebody else? How do you apply somebody else's emotional structure to you? I don't get it, you see? It gets back and forth. It gets fucking retarded. There really is no feelings. What we're dealing with is the internal battle of the woman's mind with the intelligence of the uterus. And that's what's really going on here. Okay? And that was divided amongst the women with the witch burnings. The white people didn't play that shit. The white male, once he figured out what the fuck was really going on, he took their ass to the stake. He said, we're going to at least give us a 300, 400 year run of a full level of submission. We will enforce the ladies to be happy and to be in love. There's more white women on porn than any other race. Okay? And they're doing it with a smile. Do you understand? Okay? So, by race, they are more happier than the women of other races. Maybe because their mythology system allowed them to kick ass and build palaces and castles and shit. The native did not. So it's a catch-up game. And you're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to figure out the rules and regulations for the marathon before you get in it. Okay? Because the rules and regulations were already there. They're not in your brain. It doesn't matter about what you feel or what you think, or why can't it be this way, or why does it got to be like that? Who said it was going to be that? Who taught them how to do this? It's a bunch of fucking stupid shit. Deal with what the fuck it is. Find the loopholes in the rules and regulations and kick a motherfucker's ass. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. All this other shit, I don't comprehend. You shouldn't comprehend it either. Because it's a lot of fat back on the brain. It's nothingness. You understand? Nothingness. So yeah, we got to go. I got to get out of here, man. It's a Friday night, man. It's Las Vegas. Y'all come on down. No masks. Beauty is out here. They got the concerts going on the streets. Everything. You're going to be seeing a lot more from me. I need y'all to start calling in on the shows. I got the Zoom up. I got the phone number up. I got all the invites. I got everything cracking. So let's go in. And what we're going to go in on, relationship issues, family issues, issues at the job. I know a lot of areas of socialism, and I know how to get you out of the knot and out of the bullshit. Okay? Court issues, lawyer issues. I know what to do because it's all wordplay. It's all essence and the feeling of your word and how to move and operate. You know, men need to gain the women. Women need to gain the men. I can assist. So let's do it. Y'all going to be able to call in. We're going to be doing scheduled shows. And also, you can go to the coursecraft.com. I have it on the video. You can look in the information for the video. And you will see the Coursecraft for the How to Know Thyself course, going through the medieval, explaining everything in society. And you'll be able to ask me direct questions pertaining to your unique situation and how you should go about that information on your day-to-day, because the things that you'll be encountering in Philly or Baltimore will be completely different than what you may be encountering in Atlanta or LA or even in Vegas. But the medieval pertains to all, whether you like it or not, just like Harry Potter was shown in all the cinema theaters are out here. You dig what I'm saying? So we're going to be getting into it. I got to make a move. I appreciate everybody coming in tonight. Okay? And you will be seeing me again shortly. Okay? Go to the kickedoutofheaven.com. You know, go to the go to the kickedoutofheaven.com. Go to the StargatePublishing.com. Get the books, like, donate, share, subscribe, all